Hi, I'm going to talk to you tonight about a woman poet that really excites me a lot, born in 1909, called Lynette Roberts. She was born in Argentina, of Welsh parents, immigrants, and she was traversed back and forth between Britain and Argentina as a child, and then sent to school in Bournemouth at age 14. The year after her mother died, the story is that her mother and she, who didn't get to spend a lot of time together, for one reason or another, were having a conversation, and the mother was hot and said, "Go and get me some water from the well, Lynette, I'm thirsty." The well hadn't been used for years and years. She caught typhoid and died. And Lynette had given her the glass of water. And there are these quirky things with Lynette Roberts that happen. And so she excites me because she's a woman. She excites me because she's an outsider, always, from birth right through to her death, in the little village of Llanabry is her grave, because she settled there eventually. And one of the most exciting things about her for me as a woman is that she's really interested in what she called real living. She describes this at the beginning of her Carmarthenshire diary, which has just recently been published by Carcanet, and she's sort of been rediscovered lately by Patrick McGuinness. So if you get the opportunity, there's collected poems and the diaries and letters. Anyway, she writes in her diary, "I think good real living is more important than spreading yourself on paper." She goes on to describe gutless poets who don't live admirably, calling them nitwits and perambulator bards. And she says she wants to be just a normal person who can take her full share of responsibility. Now this is a really kind of a racy woman by the time she gets to London to study in her 30s, in the 1930s. She's younger than that. She's in her 20s, late teens, 20s. She goes and studies at the Central School of Arts and Crafts and becomes a painter, designer. She redoes her father's living room in Buenos Aires with fabrics from Margot, and it's all very exciting. She makes fabulous clothes. She studies flower arranging in a really big way, sets up her own business, begins dating Merlin Minshall, who published Ian Fleming's autobiography and was said to be the model for Bond. He was an intelligence officer, he was an amateur race car driver. It was a really racy lifestyle that she had. Her father, she was used to this. Her father worked, he was the head of the Western Railways in Argentina. He kept a touring Bentley, in which he would take in Britain. So he would take her for relaxation, drive her all around Wales, drive her up to Scotland to play some golf and so on in Bentley. And she describes this very cushy lifestyle. And then she meets at a party or at a Poetry London event through Tampa Mutu, who was editing Poetry London. He introduces her to Kaiser Reese, and she falls in love. And within a year, she's married to Kaiser Reese, who is the editor of Wales magazine. And within weeks, and they move to this little tiny village called Llanabry, which is near Llanstefan in Carmarthenshire. And within months, he's called up, and they have no money, and she's living in this little tiny, damp cottage that she loves. Very romantic lifestyle, I think she thought it would be, but it's totally poverty-stricken, and within weeks of him going, she loses her first pregnancy. She has a horrendous miscarriage, hemorrhages so badly that she nearly dies. And she spends the next 10 years, more or less, very much on her own, because he's away with war duties, and he's away trying to get money together for his publishing things that he's doing. And they managed to have 2 children, one in 1945, one in 1946, but by 1948, the marriage is over. Eventually, not long after this, she stops writing altogether. She becomes a Jehovah's Witness. She has several breakdowns, and in 5 she dies. So this amazing, incredible woman who is obsessed with detail, obsessed with words that have to do with structure, architecture, new materials that were around during World War II, because of the development of aircraft, light aircraft and so on. She's just absolutely fascinating. And a lot of people find her really irritating to read because it's modernist poetry, it's not easy, it's not straightforward to read, and it's jam-packed with all this intricate language. The work, Tony Conran writes in his book, The Cost of Strangeness, that her work has gone unheeded for many years because she's a woman writing during the war from an obscure place in Wales, because she's writing in a challenging way with such a breadth of interest, and because of the peculiar name of one of her most important poems, which is called, it's an epic poem, it's called Gods with Stainless Ears. But it turns out that she attributes the title of that poem to one Victor Musgrave, who is a poet, a dealer, and a curator in London. That's how she comes up with the name. So I think I've probably told you enough. I haven't said anywhere near what I've written. It's so exciting that you must find out about this woman. She's absolutely fascinating. So I'm going to give you an excerpt from Gods with Stainless Ears, which is, as I said, quite a difficult poem, modernist epic. And then I'm going to give you a far more straightforward poem. So this Gods with Stainless Ears is written in parts. And each part begins with an argument. And she's so fascinating. She's so interested in the arts across the spectrum. She wanted it to be very filmic. So it's incredibly visual. And you can just imagine it being made into film. And she starts each section with an argument. And in this section, she says, by the tidal lapping of the water, a gramophone remains the only symbol of a lost airman. The challenge arises to all people to discard their sorrow, break